Hello again and welcome to FaithWorks. I'm Jim Grant, and it's my privilege today to be interviewing another person whose life actually is proving what their faith is. Their works are their faith put in action. Their careers, their vocations are actually faith-based. Our guest today is Cruz Avila, who has been executive director at the Poverello House in Fresno for the past 4 years. It's been a wonderful experience knowing that the Poverello has a history that goes way back to Papa Mike, who has been doing so many good things as an individual and then as the founder and the first director of that wonderful ministry. But as times evolve, things change, and now there is a further commitment to dealing with bigger issues. And the work of the Poverello has only expanded as its staff and the supporters and its partners has also grown. Cruz, it's so good to have you here with us. There's so many things we could talk about, but the first thing for me, I think, is to hear how your faith has been influenced by your family and how it is that you are the man you are today, often and mostly because of what you saw at home. Can you tell us a bit about your life?
Well, first and foremost, Jim, I'm very blessed, and God has definitely been good to our family and the faith, the Catholic faith that we have and that we wake up to every morning and we go to bed to. My parents have been very instrumental in implementing that, showing us the way, and really embarking on those journeys that God had in store for us as soon as we were born to now where we're at. You know, I've been humbled and blessed with 37 years of following our Father and just obeying what He's been asking for me to do as His son. And so I'm sometimes left speechless and humbled with what He's put in my path for me to do. And 37 years later, here, executive director of the Poverello House. But really, the role that my mom and dad have played into me getting to this position by the upbringing. San Antonio Maria Claret has been our parish, the community that we grew up in. Now, I'm married with my beautiful wife and our daughter on the way, and our parish now is Our Lady Victory, which is great. And so we go back and forth with my parents, and but I think with the biggest, I get a little. Sorry if I get a little emotional on this too, but with my father just passing on March 28th. Of this year, that really puts your question and your faith even stronger. To know that such a good man, my dad, just the upbringing, the respect, the values, the teachings that he would give myself every day to respecting my elders, respecting the woman that you're with. He always said that to be with a woman is like having a flower, and in order for a flower to grow and have the sunlight and to be well taken care of, that's how you have to treat a woman in life, and by watering the dirt, making sure that the flower has everything. He had such a green thumb. And to give that analogy on how to treat women and how to respect women, and how he respected my mom so much, and the respect that he gave her every day, and the love and support, the hugs and kisses, and the upbringing, all that, Jim, all that, just really, I thank God for blessing me to be my dad's son. So it's and it's still hard to think that my dad's not around anymore, but I know he's with me every day. He's with me in spirit. He's here with us in this interview, and he's just guiding the way, just like God has guided my way this whole path up to this journey here at the Poverello House.
Thank you, Cruz, for sharing about your dad. Now, a day that might be reflective of love is Valentine's Day, a big day for you and your family, of course, but you shared it with the community in a very special way this year with the homeless community. Tell us what happened at the POV on the 14th of February, 2017.
So it was our first annual memorial service, and this was obviously a big undertaking in such a special way, because we were able to combine efforts with the Fresno Diocese here, with yourself, Jim, and to be able to plan all that and to be able to have it on our Poverello campus was amazing for us to be able to give that gift back to a lot of our homeless population that sometimes don't have a voice, sometimes don't have that family that can vouch for them, or that could give them that proper burial or that proper goodbye. And to be able to have that and to host that at the Poverello House meant so much to Papa Mike as our founder, who started Poverello House in 73, which is almost going to be 44 years now in the making today. So to be able to have that with all the clergy, with all the faith-based groups there, and to really bring a community together to really support our homeless population, I couldn't have had it a better way to have it there at the Poverello House. So it was a very special day.
It really was, and what we want to do is thank the Poverello, which was the obvious setting. Since you deal with the homeless every day, it would be good that once a year we would remember those who passed. So who helped us on this a lot was the sheriff's office and the coroner. Mm-hmm. We were needing to get the names of as many as we could of those who have passed on the streets going back 10 years. And because of the efforts of the deputies, we were able to have more than 100 names being read by people who would have remembered them or wanted to be there for them, or not knowing them wanted to memorialize their memory. So thank you again for that day, which we hope that every year, it may be that we're going to move it to November when we celebrate Homeless Awareness Month. For you, homeless awareness is every day, but for the country, November. So what we're going to do is say, let's do it in November again and see if we can have more clergy there and more people representing the community.
That would be great.
Now, about the homeless, we want to show a clip right now that was created by, well, you're on it, the chief's on it, and a lot of great people over at Fresno Rescue Mission. So let's see the clip called Real Change, so you could tell us what it is that Poverello wants to do is not be a Band-Aid, but be really an element of real change in the community. Let's roll the clip.
Here in Fresno, we care about people experiencing homelessness. You know how I know that? Because people in my city are generous with their money, time, and resources when it comes to helping those in need. But what if it turned out that many of the ways we try to help might actually be hurting those experiencing homelessness, could be keeping them on the streets and blocking them from receiving the care they need? Wouldn't you want to know that? And what if there was a better way to give? A way that has actually been proven to help those in need, both in their current situation and for the long term. Wouldn't you want to know that as well? What if I told you there was a place you can go where you will learn about the various causes of homelessness, where you can hear success stories of actual people who used to live on the streets, where you can get connected with local organizations and charities that are dedicated and equipped to provide real lasting change for those experiencing homelessness, and where you can learn the absolute best way to give, a way that cares for those experiencing homelessness by providing for their needs today and that sets them on the path to future recovery. What if I told you that we could end homelessness in our city? Would you believe me? Find out for yourself. Go to realchangefresno.org and take the pledge to end homelessness in Fresno.
We have two different spots about Real Change Fresno. That's the one with only Seth Scott. The other one has many, many people witnessing to the need to look at the issue at a deeper level. Can you tell us, Cruz, after 4 years, what you're learning and what the POV is doing to help address real change?
And Jim, so that's, excuse me, that's a really big undertaking that we've seen within the transition these last 3 to 4 years. When I started at the Poverello, seeing all the groups and everyone that was really trying to make an impact to really see that real change, hence the real change video that we just saw. In order for us to have real change, you do have to have the right people at the table making those executive decisions to make sure that we're right on track with the right path to what's to be done. And I think with the various organizations that we see now, including the Fresno Diocese with the Bishops' Council, the Rescue Missions, the Catholic Charities, the Marjorie Masons, obviously the Poverello House, you start seeing everyone combined efforts to make sure that our homeless population are getting the respect, the community is being educated on what the right approaches are, and the right elements of linkages. And we'll talk a little bit more on your show with our map point and what Poverello's doing and how we're combining efforts with the city, with the county, to make sure that those efforts are being looked at in a deeper level so that the community really, truly understands, Jim, what our homeless are really dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And it changes that perspective on some community members and some community folks on what that true real change is. So when we look at that video and you see Chief Dyer, you see the Rob Cravey's of the world, you see myself, the Sergeant Deweys that oversee the homeless task force, that work with our homeless population, we're living it day to day. And we're out there, we're in the trenches, we're on the front lines, seeing everything and seeing the reality that takes place with our homeless population. And hopefully, with this real change video, folks understand the true nature of what needs to be done so that our homeless population are looked at in a different light.
What a perfect segue to our break, because when we come back, as Cruz said, we're going to look at Map Point and how it is that the organizations in Fresno are actually relating to each other and becoming partners on the healing process, on the rehab effort, and on helping people really change, really get the help they need. So we'll take our break now, but don't go anywhere, because in 1 minute we'll be back with Cruz Avila to tell us more about what the POV is doing today. Stay tuned.
Go to KNXT.TV. You'll discover that your Catholic television station is streaming live on the web. Just click on the live broadcast icon to open. It's KNXT live on the web, just as you see it on television, broadcasting live by video streaming 24/7. The only television station in the Valley that brings its programming to you and the world, anytime, anyplace, anywhere. And it's only here at KNXT.TV. Celebrate Sunday Mass with KNXT from beautiful St. Anne's Chapel every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. This weekly broadcast of the Sunday Mass has become the cornerstone of diocesan evangelization, touching thousands of viewers, both Catholic and non-Catholic alike, with the Word of God and the liturgy of the Eucharist. Sunday Mass from St. Anne's Chapel, 7:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. on KNXT TV, your Catholic television station.
Welcome back to FaithWorks. I think what we want to do, Cruz, is let you just keep going with MapPoint. Tell us about the idea that how it started, who's involved, and why you do see it as being really the strategic way that the bigger problems of those that are on the streets can be better addressed.
So MapPoint was really started with the concept of there was a term that was always put out there, which was a Fresno Shuffle. And what the Fresno Shuffle is that a lot of the clients were going from location to location. Perhaps they were getting appropriate care or maybe the right care in some facilities. Not to say that they weren't getting the best that the facilities could give them, but they were going from either organization to organization or agency to agency or from one office building to another, but yet they weren't getting that follow-up that they really needed or deserved, or transportation might have been an issue for them. So Community Conversations back in 2011, which was really headed up by Lynn Ashback, Judge Chittick, Dewan Utek from the Department of Behavioral Health, Leon Hoover from King Zoo, a lot of these folks were at the table and really wanted to see how we could eliminate that Fresno Shuffle. So you fast forward to 2013 when I stepped on board to the Poverello House. They were looking for a location. They were trying to figure out the best place to really put together an office or a location that could really eliminate that Fresno Shuffle, but at the same time be able to have the right care the first time when folks are actually stepping into an office building and they can get all services in one. So in 2015 of February, we looked at opening the new office for MapPoint, which it's MultiAgency Access Program. And what this linkage facility does, it's being able to put in an assessment, which is a VI SPDAT, which is really a vulnerability survey to see where they're at, if they need case management, if they need navigation, to be able to help them, to link them to that right care the first time. So folks are coming in. It's not only for our homeless population, but then we saw that it was also working with our mental health community as well, and really putting those two together, because when you have mental health and you have homelessness, they go hand in hand, and that's what we really started to see with MapPoint. Not knowing what MapPoint was going to bring, but that was the real change. When we look at the real change, when you look at what they can get linked to, they can get linked to housing, they can get linked to medical facilities, they can get linked to, if they're going through a domestic violence case or something of that nature, working with Marjorie Mason Center. So various groups being able to get linked to if they're looking for a rehab program. So there's all these linkages, Jim, all these linkages that they're able to come into in one center that's helping them get back on track, either to get housing, either they're self-resolving where they're moving back in with a family member, or they're reconnecting with the family member. So you have all these entities and all these organizations that work well to make this happen. Now, this original MapPoint was set up with 3 organizations. It was set up through Turning Point, West Care, and ourselves, Poverello, as the startup of MapPoint. And you fast forward to now, currently this year, there's an RFP that came out through the county and was awarded to now King Zoo Rural Services, Centro La Familia, and ourselves, Poverello, to be able to now expand it countywide. First it was just city, now it's countywide. So it started off with one location, which was MapPoint at the POV, but now it's a MapPoint that's extended itself. We do have the prime location, one of the offices there at Poverello, but it's also expanding out to 8 other locations in the rural communities, your Selmas, your Mendotas, your Kermans, to be able to work countywide. And our food truck is also a part of that, because the food truck also goes out with the case manager to provide those services. So that's just a little of the bigger picture of what's to come. And if folks really want to know more about Map Point, they could always go to our website, www.poverellohouse.org, or they can come visit us at 412 F Street, and they can get a glimpse of everything that's taking place, and then we'll have all that information for folks to see.
You know, Cruz, I don't know if the Pope heard what you were doing at the Poverello, but on January 1st, 2017, he actually did the a very similar thing in the Vatican. There were 4 offices that he knew he had been there for the 4 years that he's been Pope. And he saw them needing to be reorganized. And what he did is give one person to be in charge, and that was Cardinal Turkson, who visited us in Fresno in February and gave a major address at Holy Spirit Church. But that department, he gave it a new name. He didn't call it Map Point. He called it the Pontifical Commission for Integral Human Development.
Wow.
Integral Human Development. So instead of peace and justice, medical care, care for the refugees and migrants, and all the services of the church that are for the most disadvantaged, he calls it integral human development. It seems that what you're doing is, by consolidating these efforts, you're looking at something much better integrated, much better centered on the human being and developing that person. So you're just doing what the Pope is doing for the church. You're doing it locally. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim. That's a blessing for us, and we, as an organization and as a community partner and as a collaboration with these other entities and these other groups, we're humbled that we're a part of this process, that our family at the POV is able to really continue the efforts and all the blessings that Papa Mike and Mary started back in 1973 with just a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And now everything that has evolved and everything that has taken place since the opening of Poverello to almost 44 years now, this October 4th, you look at the tremendous impact that Papa Mike started and had and has and continues to do with our family there at the Poverello House.
Now, getting back to the idea of a car opening up the trunk and having all the food, let's go to the food truck. It seems like a natural move. Tell us about this magnificent vehicle and also the wonderful ministry it's doing across the county. Introduce us to the food truck.
So our food truck is just, that has been another amazing blessing. I say blessing because, and that's kind of like the word that I constantly use, because truly blessings are what we've had at the Poverello House, and this food truck has been one of those for us. And Ag Leadership Class 45 selected Poverello as their project to take on. We were humbled that they chose us to be able to fund our project. So the food truck, what the food truck is able to do, it's part of a grant, but it's also part of this funding project that is going out and being able to provide free food, nutritious food to our rural communities. $110,000 that the Ag Leadership Class 45 fundraised to purchase this food truck for us, to be able to take it out to the rural communities, but also the wrapping of the food truck was donated by Valprint. And so Jack just donated this, which was about a $10,000 donation to wrap our whole food truck. So if that's not community support, Jim, I don't know what else is, right? And so when you look at that, this food truck goes out to the rural communities. It's a three-prong effect. The first is that we have our guys in the kitchen from our rehab program. There's 3 gentlemen in there that are learning soft skills programming and a business to be able to run what is a food truck or a catering business or just a commercial kitchen business. That's one. And these are our gentlemen in the rehab program that we have on site as well. Second is that we have a case manager. A case manager per this RFP, this grant for Map Point, is able to go with the food truck. The food truck goes out and we do case management with the families that we're going out and we're serving. And obviously the third one is the free food that we're actually producing in our kitchen in the food truck that goes out to these rural communities, and then we're also providing food bags with all the ingredients that go into the food that is given out to our families. So we've gone to the Kermans, to the Mendotas, to the Reedleys, to the Selmas, to the Parliers, all these folks on the east side, on the west side. That's what we're doing with this food truck. Papa Mike, is one of his legacies that he really wanted to be able to have for the community is once you build it, true, folks will come, but he wanted to be able to take those blessings also out into the community. And that's what we're now doing with this, the blessing of this food truck.
You know, the Poverello, it means the poor one. It means St. Francis, which brings up Pope Francis. His whole effort is to go out to the periferia, to go out to the regions that are not touched. You're doing it. You're like not only being what you always have been as a center, you're just missionaries, and you're out there in all the county. Thank you for that. That would bring up one final big topic we wanted to talk about is the warehouse. What update can you give us on what's going on with the new building?
So 43 years in the making, we finally broke ground earlier this year, about a month ago. We finally broke ground on our new state-of-the-art warehouse. Once again, all the amenities, all the upgrades, everything that's going into this warehouse. I won't get into all the details of it because folks can go on our website. Once again, www.poverellohouse.org. You'll see the Raise the Roof campaign. I mean, you'll see everything that's going in and taking place with our warehouse. But what I will say is that this warehouse has definitely been a huge need for the Poverello with the wear and tear of the 43 years that this warehouse is undertaking, but going from 9,500 square feet to about a little over 19,000 square feet.
My.
That's with covered patio,
wow.
state-of-the-art amenities, the freezer, the refrigeration to be able to hold all our dry goods, to be able to have the double to triple stacking of racking that we can have now to be able to hold everything, and it's also helping us with our budget so we're not having to go off-site to be able to pick up our donations from the cold storage units to be able to bring in, so everything is all on site now. It's the same footprint, it's just been expanded. So this is our first phase of our 3-phase project. It's also rebeautifying our sheds as well and making it a beautification project, along with our new location for the foundation for our new Map Point office that will be placed in the back by the Holy Cross Center for Women. So it's part of this bigger infrastructure that we're doing, and that's also going to help with all the amenities and the blessings that we'll be able to continue to provide for the community.
You know, you've spoken of blessing, and that's what we have to say about this program. I want to thank Cruz and everyone on the staff, everyone who contributes to make the Poverello what it is and what it has always been and what it's becoming. We can't forget to thank Papa Mike and his wife and everything that they've given to the POV as it continues to address the needs that Fresno and Fresno County is facing today. We hope you will go to that website and to their Facebook page and to keep supporting the POV any way you can. Thank you, Cruz, for being here today. It's been a blessing to have you, and we look forward to the continuing work that you're doing at the POV. God bless.